Hello and welcome to TechFunnel.com's interview series for Women's History Month. My name is Danny White, and today we have joining us Shirmattie Seenarine. As a believer in making every word count, Shirmattie delivers content that captures a company's mission statement and value proposition while facilitating customer acquisition and retention. She also creates brand awareness by building a company's social media presence, delivering website content, writing press releases, marketing materials, keynote speeches, and content for other projects. Before devoting herself full-time as the Director of Communications at Deltapath, a unified communications company in Silicon Valley, California, Shirmattie had a successful track record as a technical communications writer, published author with Sam's Publishing, and has written many articles for TechTarget.com. Her diverse experiences and extensive skill sets stem from working in many industries: financial services, high-tech, public sector, and internet startups. Shirmattie is also a strong advocate for diversity and inclusion in the workplace and is heavily involved in the community. Welcome, Shirmattie. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Danny. I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Sure. I work for Deltapath. It's a unified communication company that's situated in Silicon Valley. As the Director of Communications and Technical Publication, I'm responsible for internal as well as external documentation, driving brand strategies, and increasing penetration into marketing of our brands and of our company. A little bit more about myself. Before I had this position, I was a technical communications writer. And as a technical communications writer, it has taught me a lot, and it has played an imperative role in the role that I'm doing today. For instance, when I'm not focused on customer acquisition, I'm focused on customer retention. And that means that I create documentation, technical resources such as user guides and administrator guides that allow our customers to learn about our features and functionalities of our product, as well as how to set up and use it on an everyday basis.
Awesome. So what made you want to become a technical writer and author?
Well, I've been writing since I was a young girl. And I believe back then, as I do now, that great stories are remembered not for the actors on the screen or for the characters in a book. They're remembered because of the writers and the writers' art of making people see through their eyes and believing what they're seeing. And I wanted to do that. So I took every English lit class from Shakespeare to post-colonial literature. And I graduated. But when I graduated, I had no idea what I wanted to do. And I sort of stumbled into the technical communication field through a website. You know, it piqued my interest, and I knew that was what I wanted to try out. And once I got there, I did some more research and found out that the place to be in was the technology hub in California. And I haven't left since. I'm passionate about the computer industry because it's got so many different career pathways. It keeps you learning, and it's a huge vessel in that you don't just have to be in the technology industry to do technology.
Right.
As a Deltapath, we produce products for healthcare, for retail, for banking. So it's such an interesting career path, and it keeps things lively every single day.
Interesting. So you talk about how being in the field of technology is such a diverse career path for people to take. What does your day look like on an everyday basis as Director of Communications at Deltapath?
Yeah. My every single day at this job is very exciting because every single day is different for the most part. Some days I come in and I'm writing release notes and keynote speeches. On other days, I come in and I'm just delivering content that's going to be consumed by social media platforms. And the very next day, I'm tracking down, we're tracking down journalists, we're tracking down analysts so that we can speak to them about how we differentiate from other UC companies. I think one thing for me that doesn't change is my effort to create or surround myself with key team members. And I'm lucky at Deltapath because I have fantastic team members who take my vision and make it into reality on an everyday basis. You know, if I want images for my marketing brochure, if I want to learn about a product or a product feature, I will surround myself by key individuals that will allow me to write more eloquently or intelligently on an everyday basis. And I think that in general, you'll be more successful at what you're trying to achieve when you surround yourself by powerful people.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So speaking of powerful people, who have you looked up to throughout your professional career, and why do you look up to them?
Yeah, there's so many people over my career history. For sure, Michelle Obama. She's so influential around the world. There's Carla Harris from Morgan Stanley and Grace Puma from Tesco. But I think the person that I've been tracking the longest, who's probably my biggest role model, is Oprah Winfrey. And that's because she's a media mogul. And she's an individual who has used media to influence people around the world. And she's been doing this for years. And I think she's also the personification of the you can do anything attitude. And if you look at her, she's a serial entrepreneur. She's a media mogul, like I said. She's an actress, and she's a philanthropist as well as a publisher.
Right.
You know, it's women like Oprah and other successful women around this world that make young girls and women alike remember that they can achieve anything that they want.
Absolutely. Indeed, that is a powerful message that for young women coming up in this day and age, that you can achieve anything that you put your mind to. So that's awesome. So you are also a strong advocate for diversity and inclusion in the workplace. And you're also heavily involved in your local community. So what's the impact, or what do you think is the impact of having more women in the workplace and even in leadership positions?
Right. Aside from economic empowerment and buying power, there's so much more, because I think the more women that there is in the workplace, the more powerful our voice. And when you're not on the sidelines looking in, you're able to communicate firsthand and initiate change. So, for instance, one of the problems that we've been seeing in the past is that you've got a lot of working moms out there. But a lot of working moms have to leave at a certain time because they have to pick up their kids at daycare, and daycare closes at 6. Now, organizations out there, and it's organizations in many different industries, they might schedule meetings at 5 o'clock and 5:30. You know, with more women in the workforce, they're able to open up the communication line so this can change. And for larger organizations who have a global presence and maybe they can't accommodate a certain woman in their workforce or the department, what they can do is maybe bring on-premise daycares.
Absolutely.
As that conversation is opened, you know, we can see change. I think with more women in the workplace, younger girls have more role models, models that look like them, role models that they want to be. And this translates into girls going to school, graduating from university, and pursuing the careers that they want to, just like the role models.
Absolutely.
So it's a success story all around, with women being empowered and being in the workforce. I think one of the biggest things that women are changing is, and it could be indirectly or directly, but when organizations look at them, and if they're paying attention, they should know by now that in order, you know, they need to acquire women in their workforce, but then they also need to retain them, because if they're not, their talent pool decreases tremendously. So I think we're going down the right path in terms of diversity and inclusion, but I also think they need to have policing, and they need to have roles in the corporations that are specific to asking the hardest questions, such as, you know, John, you know, why are there 10 men to 1 woman in your department? Why are you not interviewing women for this position? You know, I think when we have people in those roles, we're going to see success a lot faster as women.
Absolutely. So as we wrap this up, what message do you want to leave young women and girls all around the world? What's one piece of advice you would give them? Maybe into going to, I know there's absolutely a lot, but what's one thing that you would specifically give?
I think, first of all, that we need to tell young women and even adults that you need to find a role model, somebody that lifts you up and makes you feel empowered. I think we need to tell girls to be assertive and to follow their dreams. And the biggest thing of all, when somebody tells you no, it's not the end of the world.
Right.
It means go somewhere else and try again until you succeed in what you want to achieve.
Absolutely. Very good advice. Thank you so much, Shirmattie, for your time today and for sharing your insights with us. We really appreciate it. Thank you guys for listening to this interview. For these and other interviews and topics, please visit techfunnel.com. You can connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram, and subscribe to our weekly newsletter so you can stay up to date on what's happening in the industry. Thank you.